Okay, so thank you for taking time, to meet with me about this. And so the walkthrough from the other day, yesterday, this is the steps that I went through. So we've got the thing that I was looking for is the first one, and then the feedback is in the second one.
Okay,
And so you can look at that and I'll look at a digital copy. And then we can go from there. I say that. There it is. Okay. So yeah, so the first thing is the way that this works is that there's four different procedural things, and then there's gonna be four different like rigor things. And so some of first is management, and then some of it is like classwork and stuff. And so I realize like some of this is limited because like I don't have lesson plans or anything like that. So
right,
but we'll go with what we've got. So routine and procedure 101. So I said, I observed that. And so the teacher, you had like your assignments posted, right?
Right.
On the screen at the front, and then the students came in, they knew what they were supposed to do. So that's great. Students knew that they were supposed to come in, sit down, work on the Chromebooks. And so, but there is some time before that they started that I don't know if for the curriculum y'all have or not,
okay,
if there's like a digital copy that they could use to start before it's on the board, or if there's like a warm-up that they could do before class starts. I don't know if that's how if there's those things that you could do. So that would be like some of my feedback for the procedural part there is there anything that they can do while they're waiting in that like 5 minutes or so at the beginning?
okay.
Do they have a digital copy of the stuff that was on the board?
Well, I can print it out.
No, like,
Not digital, no, it comes through the MyCBE.
oh, okay, that curriculum,
Curriculum comes through, that's what Locke had gone over.
yeah,
That's what he uses,
Yeah.
what they do, instead they used to watch videos,
okay,
they used to get on and watch videos.
yes,
But now, since it's a typing class.
Yes.
He wants us to, wants them to type,
yeah, that's
looking
fine,
at the board, type,
gotcha,
and then use that MyCBE, which is a
Okay.
career-based.
gotcha, okay, so it's a curriculum that's already been developed.
Right,
Okay, cool, and, but they don't have digital copies, they can just look at the quiz.
right,
Okay. And so then the second section is like strong voice.
okay,
And so this is just a little of, it doesn't always have to do with voice, right? There's some other things as well. So so one thing is sometimes you look away or like talk to the whole class when you're seated, and I do that sometimes as well. And what I've noticed for myself and is that whenever you stand up and talk, they're way more receptive to stuff. And so I would, yeah, and even myself today, I was thinking about this intentionally, and so every time I said something, I made sure to stand up, and it was interesting how just standing made them
right.
like listen more carefully.
It's
which is-
amazing,
which is weird.
yeah, and also when you just get up. From
Yeah,
your desk, now you
yeah.
say a word, their presence is
Yeah,
different
yeah,
too.
just getting up, and so,
Right.
and so that's what I would, try to work on is maybe standing whenever you're saying things, and then for some of those reasons, it's more formal, it garners more respect, and it can help you be more authoritative, which is what you were saying, right? Even just standing, they often,
Right.
standing and looking in a direction, and they'll respond to that.
Right.
And so also formal when you give instructions, which is so hard for me too. And so just making sure that whenever we're doing the instructions, that it's like a real formal tone, so they understand, hey, this is it, the expectation.
Okay.
And then what to do is that third category. So there were some parts of it that I observed and some parts that I didn't, and some of it was not because of what was there, but it was not observable. So what I mean is, the what to do, clear, simple instructions, 100%. The instructions were easy, clear, and simple. The thing that wasn't observed was complex instructions, because there weren't any,
Right.
right? So,
Okay.
right, that's why I put it, is because that wasn't something that was even too able to be observed,
Right.
because the things they were doing were just simple instructions.
Yeah.
So I think you did that really well, you know, hey, I expect you to do this, do this, do this, right? And the students were doing that, right? A
Right.
lot of them, they knew what they were supposed to do and they were doing it.
Right.
Most, right? And
Most.
that's always the case, there's some, right?
Yeah.
And so, and something that I think that is more of a challenge is try to limit the number of words when you're giving instructions. So the less number of words that you have to use, the less confusion there can be. And so that was the only thing there, but otherwise, like, yeah, really good.
Part of the instruction is look type.
Yeah, look type, yeah, that's real simple
That's real
actually,
simple, yeah.
and clear, so that's actually a really, really good example of that, hey, look type, yeah. And so,
Or not, I look type, because you're supposed to do it free. You can't-
oh yeah, you're not supposed to look at your hands either.
Right,
You know, when I was a kid, we had keyboarding that had the little thing over your hand,
That's
you
what-
couldn't look at
and
it,
they have now where they have a plastic thing that fits over the keyboard.
yeah,
And it's darkened, or you can't see, it's an orange thing he has, you just type.
okay. And so routine and procedure 2.0 is like a little bit more in depth, and so this was observed. So like I was saying a little bit earlier, some of the time at the beginning of class might be where you could ask a question from the previous day or something on the board, just have them like, I don't know, on a Google Doc or something, type out what their response would be. But once again, like for the most part, they knew what they were supposed to come in and do, and they were doing it. It was just like that first 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
And you know, even myself, right? Sometimes I forget, like I need to have something at the beginning, and so that's why next year on Canvas, I've already put in a warm up every day. So then I don't even have to worry about it. I just say, hey, go do the warm up whenever you come in. And then after we do the attendance, then we'll start. And so that's my plan for the future, is to already put that in for every day. Okay, now the second section is this rigor section, so yeah, it's on the back there, and that first one is develop effective lesson plans. So I can only go based off of what I saw, because I didn't ask for lesson plans ahead of time, so. Students were able to type and also answer questions about the material they typed, right? That's what I observed, and they knew how to do it. You got 2 different ones planned, 2 different assignments, 2 quizzes, that's what they're supposed to do, and they were doing it.
I was gonna say though, if they didn't type it, they wouldn't be very good on the quiz.
Yeah, and so that was my next question,
Oh,
is like,
sorry.
how do, no, you're good.
Yeah.
And so how are they able to retain information, and how do you know if they retain it? Like, do y'all have like tests later on, the questions, or how does that work?
Yeah, we do a test there on, but I mean, the only way they could retain it is they type the answer, type it down, they get to use it on that on the quiz.
Oh,
But
okay.
But if they don't do the ability to type it and take the quiz, they don't do very good.
Gotcha, okay. And so is there a way for them to go back over those if they missed things on the quiz, or are they like closed as soon as they?
No, you can go back over it, see what they missed.
Okay. And then internalizing existing lesson plans. So once again, it's not observed, but it was not observed because I didn't look at the lesson plans,
Right.
right? So, but to kind of still answer it, you know, assignments are given to students one at a time, once they finish. And so the next question I had was, well, what if like a few of the kids finished early? With both of the assignment typing and the quiz?
They have a typing procedure that they get 4 hours.
Okay,
And if they had something, they already had something planned, so once they finish a MyCBE,
okay,
we sometimes will do 2, but if there's a test, it's 10 questions, do 1.
okay,
But at the end, and if they finish, they have a typing, which is my typing club,
yeah,
and they type. You
okay,
get so many hours and so many words per minute, and that's the end of a 2-week period, so they can be tested over that.
okay, great. So that totally answered that question. As soon as they're done, they're supposed to be doing that.
Right,
Gotcha, okay. So, and they know that.
right.
And then, so the next one is that set the exemplar, or set the bar for excellence. So this is like the idea of you show an example that is the highest example, best thing that you want them to see. Well, you're having them copy a question down, typing, like, so it is the example, right? So that part is good. They're copying the exemplar verbatim. And then the question I had was, is it aligned to the test? I don't know, but you
Yes.
sort of answered that, right? So, it was it was a PDF that they're kind of going through and they have it on the board and they type as they go. And so are those same questions used on the test, or is it like they've answered 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and they randomly pick?
They randomly pick 2 or 3 out of there, so it's all the questions, but it's based off the whole 4 assessments.
Okay. Okay, so they do 4 of those and
Alright,
then,
well, I'm gonna take that back, it depends, like some of them
Okay.
are 5 assessments, then the final, some are 3. So
Okay.
it all depends on how
Okay.
many assessments they have.
and then lastly is independent practice. So two different groups there, and these have specific definitions, so. Working individually, that was something the students were doing. And then the student discussion, or warm-ups or exit tickets, those things weren't, but that could have just been because the assignments weren't geared towards that, right? So, students work independently, they're copying information down. So, maybe, at the end of those quizzes, if y'all had a discussion about what the quiz was about, or like what was the main idea of the quiz, or some of those type of things might be beneficial for the students, but I don't know if like y'all ever go back and do something like that. So maybe after they've typed and after they've answered the quizzes, that's what I would add to that, is saying, okay, what is one thing that stood out to y'all? And then have a class discussion about it. Then they can actually internalize, like, oh, hey, that was about this, and this is what I thought about that. And even if you say, okay, this half, you have to defend this idea, and this half, you have to defend this idea, and you have to take turns going back and forth, because the class is already divided in 2, basically.
Right.
So then you may be able to get them kind of going back and forth a little bit to say, well, I think that this is this because of that. And the other side can say, oh, well, I disagree. I think this is important because of this.
Right.
So those are just some random ideas. I don't know specifically, but I feel like with the type of content, the CV, what was it called again?
My CEV.
My CEV, those things that I was looking at some of the questions, I think that you could do that pretty easily in
Right.
maybe like 5 minutes and be like,
Right.
hey.
And some where you missed, there's some they did projects like they did
Yeah,
for years and they
yeah,
did
yeah.
projects outside, so. That's what they're working
These
on.
design posters.
Posters and what career they wanted to choose.
Okay, cool. And then where was that group? That was group based?
Individuals, because I said, well, you're not gonna do the individual, you're not gonna do a group job, are you? You're gonna-
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's I told
Yeah,
them
that's fair.
it's your individual career
Yeah,
that you wanna
because
do.
very few of them are gonna pick the
Right.
same career.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's why I did it.
Cool. And then do you have any questions about me or what I've said or anything that you think that I can maybe work on as far as?
No, it's good. I probably can work on some of the insights that you gave me to help them out a little bit better, so. Yeah.
Well, if you have any questions, you can always send me an email and let me know.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.